So now let's talk about your creative strategy.
Right.
Vis-a-vis your competitors, who frankly have greater market share, who are huge ad spenders.
Yes.
You know, how do you, looking at all that, where do you decide, well, this is where we can, you know, make an impact, get noticed, and frankly increase market share while we're at it?
The fortunate thing for me as a marketer is my challenge is the one you want to have as a marketer, which is to take the question you just asked me and to bring our story to life in a creative way that breaks through the clutter. What I mean by that is I don't have to make anything up. And if you think of our, what comes before the brand strategies, the corporate strategy. So a couple years ago, we had a financial services arm that had some public shares. We bought those shares in. And so we're a mutual insurance company, which means we don't have any public shareholders. Our company's in a real sense owned by its policyholders. And when we did, to your question, when we did the research, at the time, we had the World's Greatest Spokesperson campaign. The World's Greatest Spokesperson had an intentionally irreverent tone and manner, was slightly goofy. Bob Wiltfong was the actor. He's a comedian, and he's a very funny guy. But it was an irreverent tone and manner that was designed to almost not quite shock you, to grab you and hey, and call nationwide. It worked well, and it's a quality campaign. It's not who we are. And to your question, when we looked at who we were as a mutual, we really think we have a noble purpose. I mean, we protect people's cars and their homes and their lives. And we know 60% of the country says, you know, that's a pretty important decision, and I want somebody who's a serious company that's going to be there if, God forbid, things go wrong. Here's the marketing challenge. That's not very interesting when somebody's watching an NFL game, you know, on Sunday on the television. So what we decided to do is to come out with a campaign, the Join the Nation campaign in the creative, that was far more authentic in tone and manner. Not necessarily serious, because that could be boring.
So that includes this website where people can actually come and engage with you, with the brand.
Exactly.
And you tell the brand story, and you tell the story of the company.
That's right, the Join the Nation website.
Right.
That's right. So we launched with the Summer Olympics in July of 2012, and the television campaign for Join the Nation. The creative design was authenticity. So you're going to see real people. Sometimes they're actors, many times they're not. They're real people that the director found. We cast them. You'll see the face of the nation. So you'll see a heavily multicultural fabric of folks going about their lives. You'll have a Julia Roberts voiceover. Here's the magic of it is, we do use humor, but I had characterized some of my competitors as a yuck and a quote. I would tell you what we do is, this is a harder kind of humor. We'll show real people in a situation, and then something happens that's empathetically funny. So, for example.
So something people can relate to, really.
Yeah. You know, we have this spot called Disappear. And what it shows at the beginning is this guy, and he's got a belly, and he's looking in the mirror, and then poof, his belly disappears. And there's a guy on an airplane, and this large gentleman next to him sort of falls asleep, and he's like, oh no, and his head's like, so he disappears. And have you seen this? At the end, there's a father and his daughter is going out of the house, and this fellow who maybe he doesn't want her to be dating is pick, and then poof, he disappears. And the whole point is we have this vanishing deductible product. We say, look, you know, every year of safe driving with Nationwide, we'll take $100 off your deductible until it can disappear. And the creative of things disappearing that are irritating with the deductible irritating. Well, okay, so it's funny, but it's not mean-spirited. I can tell you officially it scores low on the irritability scale, which we do measure. And people kind of chuckle. I don't go for the hard laugh. And there's not a mean kind of component to it.
Sure, and that's been running since January, you said?
Since July of 2012.
Sorry.
No, it's okay, with the Summer Olympics.
With the Summer Olympics,
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, as you sort of move forward, you're going to come out with some new creative that features Julia Roberts as the voiceover, for
Yes.
example. And why'd you choose her? Why did that make sense?
Julia, so she's the first person, and maybe it's just my age, but she's the first person I remember being called America's sweetheart. So when you go kind of for the heart, she's got it. People love her. She's the smile, the personality. On the hard technical side, her Q scores are off the chart. She's got, I have never seen a celebrity, especially an A-list. I mean, she's the bluest chip of A-list celebrities, but her positives are so high, her negatives, you can't even see them. She's not part of the Hollywood glitterati. You don't see her in a lot of these. She's married, she has a family, she has children. Having spent time with her as part of this campaign, I can tell you she is, the word I used earlier, she's authentic, she's genuine, she's a very nice person.
Do you ask her for input? Because
We do.
increasingly we've seen brands bring
I
on
love
celebrities
that.
as...
So we have a spot on television right now. It's called Safety First. And it starts, and the screen kind of splits, and people are looking left and then right and then left again, and they're driving safely, because in the nation, when you drive safely, you get rewarded. And the script had called for the line to say, no LOLing or JKing. And she says, that's silly. We're sitting there in the studio, right? She says, how about if we say no texting or tweeting, no sir? So if you hear it on television, that's exactly what she says, is no texting or tweeting, no sir. Because for all the science and for all the, we had put that thing through, I can't even tell you, Jenny, how many focus groups and quantitative and qualitative, and tested the heck out of it. And we sat there and said, that's a better line. And she
Could have saved yourselves a lot of money and time.
well, you know what? She's fantastic. Back to your question.
Yeah.
I, honestly, you know, you meet her, and we've worked together now for a while, and you're talking to her, and you think she's so normal and so nice. And then when she gets in the booth and puts on, and she does, you say, oh my gosh, that's what wins an Academy Award.
Sure.
She is amazing.
Let's talk about your relationship with Danica Patrick, too,
Right.
for example, because I
Right.
know you do a lot with NASCAR. And
Yes.
talk a little bit about that and sponsorship in general.
So we have so sponsorship in general, we have three main platforms: NASCAR, golf, and NFL. Within NASCAR, we have two main, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the most popular NASCAR driver. He and his family have been with Nationwide for more than 30 years, Dale Earnhardt Sr. And Danica Patrick is the most popular driver in the Nationwide Series last year. So they're the two most popular drivers. I think they represent this trait of authenticity. And here's the thing about a NASCAR fan. Unlike the NFL, okay, so I'm a Detroit Lions fan, and if Matthew Stafford, who's the quarterback, if he goes somewhere else, I'm a Lions fan.
Sure.
Okay, so I love Matthew Stafford, but if he goes, okay, that's different in NASCAR. In NASCAR, the fans identify with the drivers, and the brands that the drivers care about, NASCAR fans recognize that's why their sport exists, and they're loyal to those folks. So Danica and Dale represent two very different personalities, but they're both very true to who they are. So Dale is a little bit of an introvert, and he's a very authentic, genuine, he talks straight at the camera, and when he says it, you believe it. Danica's fiery. She's a competitor. She says, don't think of me as a girl or a woman, and she'll say this, she'll say, I'm a driver, and I'm a darn good driver, and she's a bit, I mean, she's 5 feet tall and she's 100 pounds. She's tough. She's a great race car driver, and she represents the younger NASCAR fan. And I mean, she's multicultural as far as diversity and female.
Sure.
There's not a lot of that in NASCAR, and they're trying to emphasize it. They're doing a good job. She's
Spot on
it.
for
Yeah.
what you're trying to accomplish. Okay,
She's
so
great.
upshot of all this, have policies sold increased?
I have a good story to tell. The answer is yes. So the first thing we look at is, do people even know about us? Because you mentioned we are outspent and outgunned by our competitors. They're doing these campaigns which are a little bit edgier and a little bit more irreverent. We're doing a more authentic one. So we're zigging while they're zagging. It's worked. So our unaided brand awareness is up 33% in the last 2 years. And it shot up mostly since last July when we launched this campaign. The second thing we look at is consideration. So if you're aware of us, did you actually like us enough to put us on your short list? The answer is yes. It's also up about 25%.
That's great.
In this category, because unlike toothpaste or soap, car insurance you buy, and it's at least a 6-month purchase, and home insurance is a 12-month. So our demand generation is up 20%, which is your question. So this is how many people called our agents, how many people called our call center, and how many people went online and started an online application is up 20%.
Great.
So I wish I could tell you that I knew that was going to happen. It's exceeded our expectations. We've increased ad spend, which everyone always asks. So we are increasing spend into the face of this. My business, the president of Nationwide Insurance and the CEO have said, this is a great campaign. Julia Roberts and Join the Nation represents who we are. We're going to spend into it and really try to make it work hard.